What's up, witches? How we doing? What is up? I see us coming into the room. Come on in, come on in. How we doing? Say what's up down in the chat. Let me know where you are from. Where are you tuning in from? I am live right now in the Bronx, New York. You can probably hear some of New York outside. What's going on? Welcome, witches. Say what's up down in the chat. Say hey, say what's up. We are broadcasting live right now onto YouTube. If you are watching in the YouTube universe, then you want to make sure that you register for this webinar. Okay, you are able to see the webinar, but that does not mean you are registered for the webinar. And you want to be registered for the webinar because that is how you are going to get access to the replay, as well as an easy way to access the special offers that I'm going to share with everybody as my thank you and congratulations for taking the time to attend this webinar. So definitely make sure that you register. The link to register on YouTube, let me just double check for you guys, YouTube. If you're already a Bunker member, if you're already registered for this webinar, then you are all set and you are all good. If you are on YouTube, I want to make sure that you guys are able to register so that you get that information. So let me see if I put that in the comments or the description. I'm going to drop it in the chat right now. What's up, Don from the Bronx? Oh, the Bronx is showing up today. We've got Don from the Bronx, Zenobia from the Bronx, Samantha from Brooklyn. What's going on? How you doing? Hey, Angie, all the way from Colorado. I see Val over there on YouTube. Say what's up. Drop where you're from in the chat right now. The Bronx is very much representing, which I love to see. Absolutely love to see. So say what's up in the chat while I figure out if I left the link to register for this webinar over on YouTube so we don't leave our YouTube folks out. Don't worry, YouTube, I got you. Hold on. Hold on. Let me make sure you're all good. Okay, let's see. We've got the chat. Where are the comments? Can I comment yet? Okay, yes, I did. All right, it's in the description. Yay. Okay, I just wanted to double check for you. All right, YouTube, I just wanted to double check. So over on okay, let's see. All right, so over on YouTube, it is in the description. If you are already registered for this webinar, then you are going to be able to access the replay and some special offers that I have for all of you. If you are watching on YouTube and you haven't registered, the link is in the description. Just go ahead and register. That way you have access to everything in case you need to piece out, in case you want to take advantage of the special offers that I'm going to share with you at the end of this presentation. For everybody else who is already registered, you have access to everything in your student dashboard. All right, so be excited and ready to take advantage of everything that I am sharing with you all. And for those of you who have no idea why you're here or who I am, what's up? I am Allie Kravitz, aka Bronx Witch. I am the founder of Witchwork, which is the only co-working space for spiritual practitioners in the Bronx, New York. And I'm also the CEO of Better Witch Coaching, which is my class and coaching coaching platform. I offer classes and coaching on spirituality and spiritual entrepreneurship. And I'm super excited to be here today because I am bringing to you all once again my most transformational webinar. It's called Power of the Pivot. And I'm really excited to offer it to each of you, whether you've taken it in the past and you're here again, because my webinars are always live, they're always fresh, they're always new, they're always updated. So whether you've taken this before and you're here for new information, or you've never taken this or any other webinar with me, I want to welcome you to this one because it has the capability of having just the most profound impact on you and your spiritual practice and your spiritual business. So if you are wondering how to get to the next level, if you feel like you've been trying all of the things, if you're wearing yourself out and you're starting to get bitter, you're starting to get resentful, you're starting to get overwhelmed, and especially if you think you might be on the verge of quitting, if you feel like it's just too hard to grow this spiritual business, it's not bringing the reward to you that you are bringing to everybody else with your work, and you feel like you can't go on, I am really glad that this is finding you right now, because this is going to take away that feeling for you. Because I promise you that if you've had the inspiration to be a healer, if you have come here with clairvoyancy, if you have come here with an ability to hold space for people, if you have come here with a desire to channel messages from the beyond or divine outcomes for people, that is not an accident. That is not random. I don't believe in coincidences. It is not a coincidence. That is the purpose that you came here to serve on this earth. And it's for you to figure out how exactly to walk in your purpose and make that happen. And today I'm going to tell you how to do that from the technical aspect. Okay. The spiritual part you all have, the spiritual part you've got down, the spiritual part you came here to do. The part that you didn't come here necessarily with like an easy ticket to is how to grow a business, how to monetize the things that you do, how to make sure that there's an even exchange for all that you are bringing into the world, and how to structure it in the like capitalist world that we live in today in a way that you can actually sustain yourself and be able to do it. In a way where you don't have to become a martyr or go broke trying to heal the world, basically, right? So we have this connection between our spiritual gifts and the purpose that we came here to walk, and the economy that we're in. And it can be really difficult to figure out how to put those two things together. It's not necessarily obvious. So today I'm going to be putting those two things together for you. And I'm going to show you 4 steps, 4 important pillars, I call them, to a successful pivot, to turning things around in your spiritual practice so that you are actually being compensated. You are not overworking yourself. You're being able to bring the love you came to bring into this world with joy. And you're able to actually help people because you don't find yourself having to choose between, paying your rent, keeping the lights on, and being the healer that you came here to be. And these 4 steps, because you haven't looked at them this way before, because you haven't considered them, maybe you've dabbled in a few, but you haven't executed all 4 of them, you're overwhelmed, you're struggling, and it feels like it's an impossibility. And it just brings me so much honor and gratitude and excitement to be able to take you from a place where you feel like there are no options to realizing that you actually have so many options, and arming you with the tools, the resources, and the access to me so that you can be directed on which of these choices is the best for you. So you can speed up the timeline and get over this, sort of growth beginning phase and really start thriving in your business, helping more people, and helping yourself, your family, your community at the same time. So wildly transformational. Take out your notepads. Make sure you're taking notes. If you're not registered for this webinar, if you're watching this on YouTube, click on the description and register for the webinar so you have access to the replay. You can watch it again and make sure you don't miss anything. Make sure that you are educated on how you can turn things around in your practice, because the world needs you, period. Period. Okay. So let me pull this up on the screen for you all, as we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to give you a quick rundown of what we're going to go over. And while I'm going over that, I want you guys to tell me whether you are a growth or an aspiring witch. Okay, what do I mean by that? So, my growth witches are my witches that have already started taking clients, already started having customers. Maybe you're selling your products on Etsy or Amazon, or you're doing local fairs. Maybe you are doing live readings on YouTube, or you're working at a local metaphysical shop. For those of you who have already begun your spiritual practices, whether you have formalized your business or not, you are a growth witch. Go ahead and type growth in the chat if you are a growth witch. And if you are an aspiring witchpreneur, then you are a witch that has already identified that you have a spiritual gift or a particular calling or deep interest in helping a particular community in a spiritual capacity, but you haven't even started just yet. Maybe we haven't even begun offering things outside of our family, our friends, volunteering our services, donating our services, etc. And we're really completely getting started. You are an aspire witch. If you're aspiring, type aspire in the chat for me. And if you're an aspiring witch, I want you to stick around. I want you to know that this webinar is hugely, hugely transformational for my growth witches, okay? Because it is going to help my growth witches who've already laid the foundation for their spiritual business to see how they could maybe correct some things, shift their perspective, open up their opportunities for themselves, streamline their work, automate their work. We're really going to be talking about how to shift directions, which means you're already on the path and we're shifting you. Okay. But if you are an aspiring witch, I want you to stick around as well, because even though you may not necessarily be shifting just yet, knowing about all of these different considerations is going to help you potentially never have to shift, because you will already have put these 4 pillars into place for yourself. So if you're an aspiring witch, type aspire and aspiring down below and stick around. Okay. I also have a special offer for you guys as well. So you definitely want to stick to the end, even if you're an aspiring witch. If you're a growth witch, I definitely want you to make sure that you are taking notes. Okay. Make sure that you are registered for this webinar so you have access to the replay and can watch it again if you need it, because you're going to want to implement everything that we talk about here today, so that you can completely transform how things are going so far in your spiritual business. So we've got some growth witches. What's up, Samantha? How we doing? Congratulations. Proud of you for getting started on your business. This is going to be a very transformational experience for you. So make sure you are taking your notes. All right. What's up, Angie? Angie is an aspiring witchpreneur, and so is Don, representing the Bronx in the building. Okay. So for the rest of you in the building, let me know if you are a growth or an aspiring witch down in the chat. We're going to talk about, first and foremost, why both of us are here. Whether you're a growth witch, an aspiring witch, whether you're just tuning in because you're just like chilling on YouTube right now, I want to talk about what it is that each of us can take from this time that we have here together, and what each of us brings to this community, because this is very much a community. It's been growing for the last 5 years. And I will always say that I learn as much from all of you as you do from me. I really, truly believe that. So I know that I am going to learn while being in this space. So I want to know why you're here too, and what you bring to this space. And especially if you're new here, I want you to know what I bring to this space and why the spiritual practitioner community is so important to me. Of course, I'm going to go over the meat and the potatoes of why we're all here today, which are the 4 pillars to a successful pivot. If your business is stuck, if your business is not growing, if you're not able to get past a certain level, these 4 pillars being put in place will turn you around. Of course, I'm going to take time for your questions. Okay, so make sure to jot those down. You can jot them into the chat and I'll come back to them, or you can hang on to them at the end. But just so that we make sure we get through these 4 pillars and we stay streamlined and efficient today, I'm going to get through those 4 pillars and then I'm going to take your questions afterwards. Okay, so hang on to them and stick around to get them answered. And then we're going to talk about the really big ways in which I'm going to be helping each of you go to the next level in your spiritual business, whether you are just getting started and you're an aspiring witchpreneur, or you are growing and are a growth witchpreneur. So stick around for that as well. Okay. Okay. Kimberly's in the building. We're a growth witch. Yes. Beautiful. Okay, Zenobia has a website and products, but hasn't started sales yet. Okay, awesome. You're kind of in the middle, right? You've already launched, you've already debuted yourself out to the world, but you haven't yet figured out how to start telling folks what's available to you and really start driving people to where you are. Congratulations on the work that you've put into getting those things started. And I love that you point that out, Zenobia, actually, because like, if you guys don't mind, let me go off topic just like real quick, because Zenobia brings up a really great point. With all of my better witches, all of my spiritual business coaching clients, I do things a little bit differently than you would think to do them. So I noticed that Zenobia started off with your website and your products, but you haven't started sales. That is the way that so many folks would get started, because that's what you think you have to do first. But I am a really big fan of revenue generation first. So if you work with me, we will probably save your website and things for the very, very end. We start off first with the sales component. How do we get eyeballs on what it is that you're doing? So when you debut, it's not to a room full of crickets. How do we get people excited before you have the website, before you finalize the products and already pre-ordering or already invested, already signing up for your mailing list, already going to your website? So anyway, I don't want to get too far on that. I'm really passionate about starting out with revenue generation. And this is a great example why working with a coach that's done what it is that you are trying to do can really, really help you, because the amount of time that you get saved by having someone tell you not just what to do, but what to do first is priceless. So I love that. Congratulations, Zenobia. I hope you pop up into the bunker and things like that, because I'd love to talk about how you can generate sales even before you're done with the administrative stuff. Okay, little pivots make a big difference. Kimberly's growing. Don says, congrats from Samantha. You just opened your Etsy shop 2 weeks ago. Okay, I love to see it. Love it, love it, love it. Congratulations all around. I love the support. I just posted this the other day. One of the things I love the most about the bunker is our winners platform. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say the bunker, that's the private membership group for my witchpreneurs. So if you're looking for coaching support and maybe one-on-one you're not ready for yet, you want to be a part of a group, the bunker is a great place to network and meet people. And my favorite thing about the bunker is the winner platform, which is our area where we celebrate each other, where we announce our wins. And I just love seeing everybody giving each other congratulations and support. When you're a solopreneur, it is a very lonely space. And it's so great to have support from others that get you. So, you're not truly alone. You might be alone in your business. You might be the only person in your family or your friend group or your community that's really motivated to grow a business and a practice from your spiritual gifts, but you're not alone in the world. We are out here. Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome everybody in the chat. I'm super, super excited for each of you to either pivot your businesses or have much stronger foundations for the businesses that you are launching, because I want to see a world where spiritual practitioners do not have to martyr themselves in order to do the incredibly valuable work that they do. And we just need the skills to be able to do that. So, a little bit about why I am here. Most of you know who I am. I'm Ali Kravitz, aka the Bronx Witch. I introed myself at the beginning, and I don't want to get too like long-winded into who I am and my whole journey. Especially if you're here watching on YouTube, or if you can look me up on YouTube. I've got videos going back 5 years talking about how I became interested in Wicca at the very young age of 12. I'm now 38 years old. So I have been a practitioner of the craft since then. I picked up my first tarot deck when I was 15. I went to law school and I spent 15 years in hospitality in New York City. And I have been all over the place and done a lot of things. And like the arrows on this page, I have pivoted, pivoted, pivoted. And I think that's the most important part about why I am here today. I am here and qualified to teach you these topics and walk you through this type of a journey because I have taken it. I've taken it the long and lonely way, which I would like to save you from. Okay. I would like you to not have to take the long and lonely way. I would like for you to have clear direction about what's working, what's not working, what you should be doing first, what you should be doing next. And doing that in the space where you have a community around you so you don't feel so lost and alone, so you don't make so many mistakes, so you don't struggle for nearly as long as I did. But I am very blessed and grateful that I did have as many struggles and I did do so much alone and by myself. And I did have to repeat things and make so many mistakes because it has put me in a position where I can help so many people really kind of regardless of where they are in this meandering journey. Okay. So whether you've never built a business before or this is the 10th time that you've done it and you've switched around a million times, I can be of help to you. And these four pillars have come out of this meandering journey. So I wouldn't have this like clear, structured way to do it, this proven method for you if I didn't go through all of this. I first started my very first business back in 2017, Rockstar Bar Girl, when I was in the hospitality industry. I started a coaching and consulting business. I taught a 40-hour bartending course, and I went to restaurants and I shared that with them. And that had to change when COVID hit, right? Hospitality, what? So I didn't know if there was going to be a restaurant industry like ever again in New York. And that allowed me to dive deeper into the spiritual practices that I'd had for so long, but that I never thought to monetize. And I started building a community around other people that were interested in tarot and herbalism and candle magic. And that started to grow. And the next thing I knew, I was opening up a physical location for myself to do all of these things. And as I did that, I realized wait a minute, there are other healers and practitioners that also need space to work out of. So, Bronx Witch headquarters, which started off as my personal office for tarot and Reiki, became a community space that I made open to any tarot, Reiki, or spiritual healer that needed it. And from there, I started offering retail. Folks would come in and get Reiki sessions or tarot readings, and I would make a recommendation of a candle or a product to them. And they would say, oh, great. Well, do you have that? And after a while, I started realizing, wait, I should have that. People keep asking for these things. So I started offering retail. And after a while, I realized that while retail was fantastic, it wasn't my true calling and it wasn't the best use of my skills and my knowledge. That rather than selling candles, I needed to be teaching people how to do candle magic. Then rather than selling herbs, I needed to be teaching people how to make herbal medicine. That rather than running a business, I needed to be teaching more people how to start their businesses because I could have a greater impact in the world and in my community, the South Bronx, that I care about very much by going about it that way. So I pivoted once again. And last year got rid of in-person retail. And recently we changed our name. I decided to change our name and change our branding as our our modality, our format, our structure changed as well. So when I tell you I have pivoted, honey, I don't know anybody that has done it more than I have. And the reason for that is really very simple. And it's because I made a promise. I made a promise that I would walk in my purpose. I made a promise that I would lean in the direction of the gifts that God has given me. That when I identified that I was good at something, or I identified that I could help people in a certain way, that I wouldn't run from that. That I would lean into that and I would figure out somehow how to actually make it viable. But first, I would just say yes. I'm going to step out on faith. I hear you calling me to do this. I see that you've armed me with these skills. I see my ancestors have passed down certain skills and certain traits so that I could be this person right here, right now, to accomplish this goal. I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I have faith in you, God. I have faith in the spirits that I have called together to help me, that it will get done and a path will be made. But the only thing that I have to do to make sure that happens is I have to first say yes and take that first very scary step in a new direction. So that's the only thing that all of these different pivots have in common, is that I have decided that I am going to honor my promise to walk in my purpose, which means giving up is not an option. It's just not an option. I can't do both. I can't walk in my purpose and give up when it gets hard. I have to choose one. And I have chosen walking in my purpose. So since giving up is not an option, my only other choice is to learn how to pivot when things are more difficult or not working out the way that makes it comfortable and doable for me to keep going. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. Let me know in the chat if you feel like you are called to a purpose, that you've made a promise, that maybe you haven't figured out exactly what that looks like yet, and you haven't figured out how to monetize that. You haven't figured out how to also live your life while doing that, but you know that there is something. You know that you are here with a purpose that is different from other people. You know that you tap into something that other people don't. You can see things people can't. You can feel things people can't. You have an ability to make people feel better whenever they interact with you. And you're trying to figure out how to turn that into something that allows you to live in our like capitalist world. If that resonates, let me know. It's resonating with Samantha. Having community has made a huge impact on my journey. It's hugely important, right? Hugely important. Angie says that makes total sense. Okay, great. I'm glad. I want to make sure that I'm talking to people who get that. It resonates with Dawn as well. Okay, beautiful. I just want to make sure that you get that if you're in this room, honestly, because if you don't feel that there's a purpose behind what you're doing, if you are just maybe you're just like exploring options, and like no judgment here whatsoever. But I have to tell you that whether you're doing spiritual work or any kind of work, if you don't have a genuine purpose for what it is that you are doing, you are going to give up. You are going to give up because it's hard. Period. It is hard. I am not here to hide that from any of you. This is not the passive income world a webinar. Okay. This is not the how to sit on your couch for 25 hours a week and make $1 million. This is not that. This is not that. Okay. This is the space for people who want to make a positive impact in the world, want to do spiritual work, potentially full time, and want to get the technical skills and education that they need in order to do that without sacrificing your authenticity, without lying to people, without scamming people. And that requires work. Okay. Scamming is easy. But if you want to actually build a business based on your genuine ability to help people and a community that you love and that loves you, it requires work. How come y'all didn't tell me that banner was still on the bottom? We done been started. Okay. All right. Definitely makes sense. Living in my purpose is the easiest part. Exactly. Right. That's exactly how I felt, Samantha, where it was like people would come to me and like immediately I'm giving spiritual guidance. Immediately I'm doing a reading. Immediately I'm making a recommendations for some herbs or offering to make somebody a tea or a spiritual bath. It just came so easily and the results were always there. The things I've done for people, it's staggering. And I don't say that to like pat myself on the back, just to express that like without even having the intention of creating a business around it. I was having a huge impact on people's lives. And it was the other part that I had to figure out. How do I monetize this so that I actually can do this? I am helping people. I want to keep helping people. I don't want to be bartending until 4 o'clock in the morning. I would rather be helping somebody heal their fibroids with an herbal blend that I've made for them. That's what I would rather be doing. How do I do that? So that's what I had to learn. That's what I'm going to help, hopefully, make it so that your brain doesn't hurt, because I broke it down into 4 steps. Okay. All right. So great. This is making sense. So I'm the pivot queen. All right. I'm going to let you know right now. And you may not be the pivot queen or king just yet. Okay. But if you know that you will not give up on your desire to walk in your purpose in this lifetime, then you've already got what you need to get started. Okay. And I'll help you become the pivot queen or king, or not have to pivot at all. All right. And the reason why it's so important that you have this type of a mindset is because in business, there are going to be more losses than wins. And I need all of you to process that. And hopefully, this is really freaking great news. And I say that because if you spend any time on the internet whatsoever, if you are entrepreneurial whatsoever, if there are other readers or other healers or other mystics, other coaches that you are looking up to, that you aspire to be like, that you see the impact they're having on people's lives and the success and growth that they're having in their own lives as a result, you might really feel intimidated and discouraged, because most of the time, and I am guilty of this as well, what we show is the good stuff. What we show are the wins, right? You don't often see businesses of any size talking about the losses. And what that does is it creates a misconception that everybody out here who has started a business is thriving. And that is simply not the case. That is simply not the case. So I want you to know that wherever you are in your journey, first of all, it's a big freaking deal. And the fact that you haven't tapped out already is already deserving of huge praise and congratulations. The other thing I want you to understand about that is that the nature of growing something, the nature of creating something, is going to result in more hiccups, more delays, more fires, more mistakes, more issues, more corrections than those winning moments. The idea is that those winning moments become bigger and bigger and last longer and longer every time that they happen. But there is not a single business on the surface of the earth, whether it's been around for 20 years, 200 years, whether it's a billion-dollar company, there's not a single business on the surface of the earth that is not losing more than it wins. It's just that the wins get bigger, they get more substantial, they last longer, and of course, they're going to tell you about them. But every single day, every single business, no matter what size it is, whether it's service-based or product-based, whether it's 100 people or one person, is experiencing losses, setbacks, failures, mistakes. If you can process that, if you can accept that that is true, and you're still willing to keep going forward, then you, my dear, are an entrepreneur. And you have what it takes to build something. You have what it takes. Samantha says, my first business failed so hard. Lessons were learned though. Same here. Same here. And the fact that you are getting back in the saddle and going at it again is huge. It shows that you have an entrepreneurial spirit. And that is important, because if you don't have that, I want to be really clear with you about this. And I don't want to tell you this and discourage you or make you feel sad or make you feel like I'm trying to like single people out and make it seem like, you're not in the club or something like that. But I want you to understand that, especially in the beginning, the amount of investment, the amount of work, the amount of sacrifice that is needed in order to birth something, you're birthing something. Like, think about what the human body sacrifices and goes through in order to conceive and gestate and birth an actual baby. That is what is happening when you are building anything, when you're creating something. So when you're building your spiritual business, you are birthing something into this world, and it is going to require so much from you at first before it's ever able to give any of that back. Okay. And you have to have what it takes to get through that. Otherwise, what happens is you make those investments, you make those sacrifices, and then you give up and you tap out before the reward comes through. So it's like a double loss. And so if you don't have that entrepreneurial spirit, I always tell people I am never going to be the person to tell everybody that they should go and start a business. It's expensive. It is time consuming. It is a lot of work. It is really only for those of you who know that you refuse to live a life where you do not walk in your purpose. You want and desire to execute that positive impact in the world that you came here to execute, and you are willing to make the sacrifices. You have the entrepreneurial spirit necessary to make the investment, the sacrifices required to birth something that's never existed before, your spiritual practice. So you need that double whammy. And if you don't have that, no judgment. That's okay. If you're not sure, if you don't have that, no judgment. That's okay. But if you know you have that, then you're in the right place. And I'm going to break down for you now the 4 pillars of executing a successful pivot. So you've already started your spiritual business, or you've at least conceived of it, and you are not yet seeing the traction, the progress, the reach that you would like, that you need in order to keep doing this. You might feel overwhelmed. You might be frustrated. You might be starting to get bitter or resentful at your community for not responding the way that you would like to the services and products that you're bringing to the world. And before you give up, I need you to understand that there's a way to turn this around. And I have come up with a 4-part process for doing that. If you look at these 4 parts of your business and you make these changes, you are going to see the reach and revenue that all of your hard work and all of the spiritual skills that you have are deserving of. Okay. This 4-step process involves, first of all, the mental component. And I'm going to tell you like what that is and what that isn't. Okay. Because there's a lot of like, just manifest $1 million and everything will be okay. No. Okay. But there is a very important mental component to seeing what you do in this world differently so that your business starts responding differently. There are different models for how you could be structuring what you offer to the world, because there's a really good chance that you're either too limited or you're not using different models that allow you to set some things on autopilot so that you're not so time consumed and you're not so overwhelmed and you can help more people. Okay. There's the data, which is the most boring part at first. But when I break down how much knowing your data is going to save for you, like you're going to fall in love with it. Okay. And then we're going to talk about the message. So this is especially important for those of you who've already started your spiritual practices. You might already have a business name. You might already be offering something, and you realize that you need to switch direction in order to actually be able to continue to do what you came here to do. How do you tell the world that in a way that doesn't make everybody that you've already brought into your community just go running away? Right? So these 4 steps to a pivot are going to make sure that you have a successful shift. Okay. So let's start with the first of the pivots. And this is the mindset component. And like I said, when people say mindset, this is one of those words that at this point has become a little bit cliche, right? Let me know if you feel like you've had enough of the mindset talk on social media, right? It's all about your mindset, manifestation mindset, money mindset, lack mindset. Everyone's always talking about your mindset, and they talk about it in a way where it almost seems as if you are like to blame for any lack of success that you're experiencing, and that you just have to think about things differently, and that's going to turn it around. And I find that to be very problematic because it's just not true. That's not the case. You need the other three pillars that we're going to talk about as well in order to turn things around in what it is that you are building. But I will acknowledge that starting with shifting your mindset, analyzing how it is you think about things, just being aware and seeing how it is you tend to think about things is the very first step in shifting, because all of the other things that we're going to talk about flow directly from how it is you think about yourself and how it is you think about what you offer to the world. Okay. So, for example, one of the blockages that you might be experiencing mentally is you might be really limited in your thoughts. You might be really limited in the ways in which you think you can help people. So, if you're a tarot reader, for example, you're probably doing tarot readings, but you might only be doing tarot readings, one-to-one tarot readings. Automatically, by setting yourself up in such a limited way, you have put a cap on how many people you can reach and put a cap on how much revenue you can generate. By expanding your mindset and becoming more creative, you'll be able to see that the spiritual gift that you have of being able to divine for others, and the interest that you have in reading tarot for others or in using tarot for divination could actually be used in a multitude of different ways that don't require you to actually be giving a reading in order to be making revenue or in order to be getting your message and your name further out into the world. But that's a mindset shift that has to happen first. You might be mentally blocked in the sense that you are overloaded. For those of you who are like on your 14th certification or your like 25th initiation, I'm talking to you. Okay. For those of you who offer every single service under the sun, you do Reiki and tarot, and you make jewelry, and you sell teas, and you do events, and you have a newsletter, and I'm talking to you. If you have this particular mindset, the problem here is that you have convinced yourself, or mentally you are in a space where you think that the reason that you haven't reached as many people as you would like to is because you don't offer enough, that you are not enough, that one of your services is not enough, that one of your products is not enough. When you shift your mindset and you start to realize the value that each of the things you can do brings to the world, you become streamlined and focused on the services or the products that have the most impact and the most results. You're not searching and scrambling for the next thing that one person might sign up for. Instead, you focus on your strengths and the things that really bring you joy, the things that really deliver results for people in life, and you create better structures around those things so that you have the reach and the revenue that you need to keep offering them without having to pile on more services and more options and more degrees and more certifications. Okay. And that leads me to the next very common mental shift that I see my better witches needing to undergo, one that I had to undergo in order to really be able to do what I do at the capacity that I want to do it. And that was to start to genuinely see the value that I bring into the lives of the people that I work with. And right now, there's a really good chance that you are severely undervaluing yourself. severely undervaluing yourself. And this usually shows up in pricing, where your prices reflect a lack of value. Your prices are very low. They're far lower than what they really should be because you are struggling to value yourself and value what you bring into people's lives. And your pricing is an example of that. But this might be also showing up in other ways as well, whether it's being afraid to be on camera or make content about your services, whether it is hesitating to talk about your accomplishments or ask people for reviews or testimonials. There are numerous ways in your business in which your undervaluing of yourself is preventing you from showing up in the world in a way that really reflects what you're capable of doing for people, which then means people don't receive you that way. Okay. If you don't value yourself, they're not going to receive you that way. And then what happens is when you decide that it's time to stop doing donation based readings or free Reiki sessions and it's time to start charging, people are like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why would I pay you? You told me that what you offered wasn't valuable enough. You didn't say that with your words, but you said that with your prices. You said that with the way you carry yourself, and you said that with the way that you market yourself. So you're sending subconscious messages to your community and to your audience that you don't value yourself. And they're subconsciously picking up the message that they shouldn't either. When you value yourself, that energy vibrates out of you. And other people value you. And you know how I learned this? You know how I figured that out? I see you guys feeling seen. I'm glad and I'm not glad. I'm not glad because I don't want you to feel this way, but I'm glad that you're here. And I'm glad that you're sharing. And I'm glad that this is resonating with you. But the way that I figured this out for myself was as I continued on in my journey, I kept hearing people say, you don't charge enough. Or, oh, that's it. Or, oh my God, that's so generous. And I started to realize, like, wait a minute, why are people saying this to me? They were seeing the value of what I brought to the table long before I did. So for those of you who have heard people say, oh my God, I would have paid you for that, or oh, you should charge more, you should start listening. That's a clear indication from your community that you're undervaluing yourself. Having followers, but no clients or customers is another indication that you're undervaluing yourself. People value you, they see your value. That's why they're following. That's why they're sticking around. That's why they want to watch what you're up to. But because you are not vibrating on that frequency of value, when you offer something for sale, they just chill. Okay, so for those of you with social media followings that are not translating into customers and clients, there's a really good chance that there's a way you are subconsciously undervaluing yourself and therefore not expressing to your audience where your value really lies. Okay. Now, if you make these shifts in your mindset about yourself, are you going to overnight tomorrow now have a six-figure spiritual business? Probably not. There are things you now need to put in place. But if you don't address these blockages, if you don't address why you are looking at yourself in a limited way, why you are overloading your offerings and piling on and piling on and piling on more things, if you don't analyze why it is you feel undervalued and acknowledge that that's what you're doing and start changing that, these other pillars, you're never even going to get started on them because they're going to feel cringy to you. They're going to feel weird to you. So we do have to do this part along with everything else. But the rest of the pillars are a lot more practical, starting with pillar number 2, which is about multiple revenue streams. Okay. So, one of the most important things and like the biggest things I do for my Better Witches is we audit your business offerings right away when we get started working together. We look at what you already have in place because there's a really good chance that rather than diversifying your revenue streams, you went and added on more stuff, more options, more services, more products, rather than figuring out how you could take that one service or that one product and monetize it in different ways so that you have different options for different price points, as well as I don't really love the term passive. You guys know this about me already. I don't like the term passive income because I think it's misleading, but there are more passive forms of revenue, meaning there are ways you can package your skills, your knowledge, your services, your products in a way where you don't have to directly be delivering it or directly selling it at that moment for it to be maybe selling in the background, generating you revenue or more reach in the background. Okay. So I like to take, for example, the oil maker, right? We have a lot of spiritual practitioners. Let me know in the chat if you make spiritual oils because this might really resonate with you. I know that we were talking about our Etsy shops. Kimberly just dropped hers. So let me know if any of you sell spiritual oils or are thinking about selling spiritual oils. If you are selling spiritual oils, you probably would create a line of oils with different intentions or different scents. You would hope that those would sell and would do your best to get those to sell. And then if they weren't, you would go and you would find another product that you could add into your store aside from the oils that people might be interested in. Right? Kimberly does make oil. Okay. Angie makes oil for fun, not to sell. Okay. Yeah, maybe. All right. So that is the option that I see a lot of Better Witches take at first. I made these oils. Maybe I made 5 or 10 different oils. I don't make a lot of sales from my oils. So let me now start also making candles, or let me also now start selling herbs, or let me also offer now crystals. And you start to add on and add on and add on. And that becomes really problematic. That's overwhelming, that's costly, it's time consuming, and it doesn't necessarily bring people's attention to the value of the oil. Instead, what I would help you to do is how to take that oil and offer it in different ways that bring you different types of revenue and that give you a greater audience, all centered around the same one product. So, for example, if you make oils, you probably oftentimes hear people saying things like, how do I use them though? Right? What do I do with these oils? How do I use these oils? Not every practitioner is experienced. Folks might be buying a spiritual oil for the very first time and really have no idea what to do with it. Great. You can sell your oil separately, but what about if you also bundled it with a how to guide? Maybe a small self published pamphlet or a digital ebook. You could offer your oil for one price, and then you could offer that same oil for a slightly higher price as a bundle with the ebook. And of course, you could offer the ebook separately as well. But you could bundle them together for a bundle price. This increases the average sale of every single bottle of oil, and the item that you have used to increase the price of that oil, you never have to make after you make it the first time. That same oil could also be included in a spell kit. Perhaps your community is into spell casting, where you use your oils for spells. Maybe it's a spell oil. Maybe that's what you recommend to folks to use the oil for and how they could use that oil. Well, folks might not always have what they need for the spells that you recommend they use the oil for. So, what if you put a kit together for them? What if you made a kit with the herbs and the crystals and the candles and the different things that they would need in order to cast a spell with this oil? And now, rather than adding random items to your store, trying to figure out more and more things that you think will sell, you have specifically just the products that work for exactly what your main character item is all about, that oil. Now, obviously, making a bundle, making a spell kit, we've got products going out, we've got physical items, we've got shipping. So there's going to be involvement on your part about that for sure. But what if you use that oil in a group ritual or a group spell that you invited your community to be a part of? Everyone pays in to be a part of the group ritual. You use that oil in dressing the candles. You use that oil in your petitions. You actually show your audience how to use the oil. You use it in real time, casting a spell for your group, and everyone buys into the ritual. Maybe they get an upsell of being able to get the oil sent out to them. But the buy-in price lets them be a part of this really powerful, really beautiful ritual that maybe you do on Zoom or something so they can watch you. But here you are generating reach, generating revenue from the use of your oil without having to send a single bottle of oil out to anyone. If you recorded that ritual and sold it as a class, a how to, a guide for how to make the oil or how to use the oil, that could generate revenue going on, and you wouldn't even necessarily be live for that. Is that making sense? We've just taken one bottle of oil, one product, and we've diversified the ways that we are monetizing that one product like three or four times over. So a lot of you are adding on, adding on, adding on more products and more services because the first thing that you did didn't get the reach or the revenue that you were looking for. But the better way, the stronger pillar to pivoting things in your sales is not to add on more options, but to diversify how you make that one service, that one product available to more people. Different ways to get access to it, different ways to monetize it, different price points to offer it at. And this isn't just the case for products, this applies for services as well. So if you're a tarot reader, you do not have to also then become a Reiki healer and also become an herbalist. You can diversify the ways in which you offer tarot to the world, whether it's through bundles or subscriptions or group activities, events, etc. You can diversify that one service, that one skill, that one thing that you know how to do. Please sit with me for a one-on-one. Let's audit your offerings and let's diversify your skills and your education and your knowledge before you go and get another certification, for the love of God. For the love of God, if another one of you sits with me, I'm just so used to it with you guys by now. We get into our programs, we get into our sessions, and you're like, yeah, so listen, I'm going to start coaching one-on-one with you in about, 2 months because I just signed up for like my 14th Reiki certification class. And I got to get this certification, in order to get this business going. And it's like, well, no one was signing up for sessions when you had certification 1 through 13. So, no shade. Okay. No shade. I'm just saying, maybe it's not the certifications, right? Maybe it's more of a technical aspect, probably how you're diversifying these things. Yes, 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 yes. You see, I told y'all I need my growth witches to take notes because you're going to totally turn your business around at the end of this. You had 8 certifications in your first business. Ah, yes, right? That's what happens. That's what happens. We're like, if we get more certified, if we get more certified, and certainly just getting more practice, getting more skills, those are always really great. But that's not why people who are interested in your services and your products are not buying them. So there are a number of different revenue models that we can talk about. These are not all of the revenue models that exist in the world, but these are the four that are probably the most relevant to all of us here in the room. So I want you to take a note of this and take a look at your current knowledge, your current education, your current skills, and ask yourself if you have set something like this up. If not, then I encourage you to do so. It's going to literally change the game for you. So first of all, bundles and packages. If you make physical products or you have some type of a digital product, bundles and packages are really great. Really, really, really great. Okay. And the idea with a good bundle or package is to give some thought to the different things that you can do, or the different things that you have created, rather, that might go together with each other. Offer them separately, but also think about the ways in which you could put them together for a bundled price. The idea with a bundle price is that the person saves a little bit of money per item, but the total purchase price is higher. That's helpful for you. It's far more helpful for you to sell a bundle of $100 than it is to try to individually sell 5 different things for $25 each. And you're giving your client, your customer, the really great experience of getting a discount while still walking away with the maximum amount of value. So everybody really, really wins with a bundle or a package. People really draw to them because they see them as a win. So give them that. Create bundles and packages around the things that you already have. And as a service provider, you can do that as well. It's just a little bit trickier because your services usually involve your time. Whereas if you made a product digital, especially if it's a digital product, then you made the product and now that part can be automated. But service providers can do bundles and packages as well. But it's really great for people who have physical or digital products. If you're a service provider, what's better for you are memberships and subscriptions. How many of you in here do tarot? How many of you in here are tarot readers? Where are my tarot readers at? Oh, spice coffee is good. I'm back on the coffee, y'all. I quit for the month of March. Yeah, I quit for the month of March, but now I'm back on that. Back on that crack. All right, Angie's a reader in the house. Are you my only tarot reader in the house? We got more product makers in here today. That's cool. Okay, so for my readers, for my service providers, any healers, Reiki healers, somatic healers, sound bowl session leaders, meditation coaches, any healers in here? For those of you who are service providers, how often do you have someone come for a reading, have someone come for a session? They absolutely love it. They give you great feedback. Okay, we got a somatic healer in the build. Oh, yes. I need me some of that. I'm going to have to talk to you, girl. Yes. Okay. People come in for a session. They have an incredible experience. They maybe give you great feedback. Maybe they leave you a wonderful review or what have you. And then you don't see them again for another year. Right? How often does that happen? Okay. Very, very often. Right? Very, very often. When it comes to receiving services, it can be very difficult to get people into the habit of receiving those services regularly. Pranic and Reiki healer. Hello. So then all of you guys have had that experience. Folks come in for a session, they have a great time, they get exactly what they want out of it, but because life be lifing, they don't necessarily prioritize coming back on a regular basis, right? And we all know that their lives would be better. We all know that their lives would be better if they were regularly meditating or getting massages regularly or getting regular Reiki or regular tarot readings. We know that, right? But we can't necessarily help people to understand that. Um, a mental health therapist. Yes, absolutely. You are a mental health healer, right? So people come in. I can imagine that this happens with you as well, Don. Even something, more in the traditional medicine field, you're going to have people that don't like. How many of you actually like go to the doctor every year and get your dental cleaning every, what is it, every 6 months? And you know what I mean? Life gets in the way. So you try to keep up with these things, but you don't always. So as a service provider, making regular care, regular service really easy for people and convenient for people is a great way to give folks more options while also ensuring that you're not just waking up at the beginning of every month hoping and praying that you have clients. Memberships and subscriptions lock people into a recurring payment of some kind, monthly, bi-weekly, whatever the case may be, and in exchange for whatever service they're able to get from you or whatever access they're able to get to you. So you still have to render the service. It's still going to take your time. But at the beginning of the month, you already know how many people you need to see. Therefore, you know how much time you need to set aside in order to be able to do these services. And you know how much revenue you're going to generate from these services. So you're not just hoping and praying, and you're not finding yourself in these crazy dips and flows where one month you've got 10 clients and the next month you have nobody. By having people in a membership, you know that even though some people might fall off, and even though you might pick up some new folks, that you're going to be able to sort of see what your average amount is, and you'll have a steady base that you can operate from. That is very huge, especially for those of you that want to leave your 9 to 5s in order to do your spiritual practice full time. You have to be able to know that you're going to actually be able to financially do that. So if you know, okay, I know I have $5,000 a month in memberships. I know that even if I don't do any other classes, or I don't make any other jewelries, or I don't make any other whatever, I know that that's what's going to be coming in next month. That's hugely helpful to know it and to have it. So if you're a service provider and you haven't yet come up with a membership or a subscription service for your people, do that ASAP. So you keep them coming back and life doesn't get in the way, causing them to wait years before they come back for their next session. Whether you are a service provider or a product maker, if you can create a class or some type of educational material around what you do, this is also a very helpful revenue model to put in place for yourself. And this does not have to be a big deal, you guys. This does not have to be a college level course on somatic healing. This could be a 2-page PDF on some at home somatic exercises that folks can do for themselves when they're having a panic attack, or, before going for a job interview, or after confronting their parents about their traumatic childhood, right? There might be some particular thing. You do not have to teach an entire Reiki certification course. Maybe you have a 10-minute guided, timeless Reiki cleansing that you offer by video as a download. Okay. So your classes, your educational material, they do not have to be complex. Okay. They just have to be accurate and helpful. Accurate and helpful. And whether you make products or you make services, offer services, there's something that you know that other people don't know. Okay. So creating those types of materials are very helpful for you, because once you've made them, you can offer them to folks, make them available to folks. And someone could be taking one of your classes at 4 in the morning. Someone could be downloading your somatic breathwork guide at 3 in the afternoon while you're at work or with the kids. So classes and educational materials are a helpful, more passive form of revenue for both service providers and product makers. High ticket offerings are another revenue model that you might not have been thinking about just yet, especially for those of you who have just started with your spiritual businesses. One of the things I hear the most from you all is I have to do blank before I can do blank. And it usually involves like, I need to have this many followers, or I need to have had this many sessions, or I need to have helped this many amount of people before I can start teaching. Or before I could, write a book about this, or before I could, etc. And that goes back to that mindset part that we were talking about undervaluing yourself. And this literally just happened in the bunker. Our group coaching sessions every weekend are called the weekly refuels. I go live every Friday at noon for group coaching on a different topic. And we were live, I think 2 weeks ago, and somebody in the chat said, I'm waiting until I get to a certain amount of followers to start charging. I'm offering my services for free right now. When I get to a certain amount of followers, I'm going to start charging. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Blaspheme. Don't ever say those words. What do you mean? You are all Samantha said, oh nah. I know. I was like, girl, what are you talking about? You out here just doing all of that for free? What? Wait, hold up. Yes. That hurt my soul. I said, girl, get in the bunker, please. Okay. But the truth of the matter is that that is a mental block that many of us have, that there's some level of something that we have to get to before we can justify giving what we have to the world and asking for exchange from it. And that is just not the case. I am not one of those people whatsoever. I am a firm believer that you can begin charging people for your knowledge, your expertise, your experience that you create for them from day one. From day one. What's going to change is the amount of people who you can help and where they are in their journeys. That will change. But from day one, you're able to help somebody. We are all capable of helping somebody. We all have some knowledge, some skills, some experience that somebody doesn't have and who would benefit immensely if we shared that with them. So even if you are just starting your practice, there is a possibility that a high ticket offer might be a revenue model that you can utilize, because you might have some particular knowledge, some particular skill that really brings a lot of value into someone's life. And because your price should reflect that value, that transformation, that result, you might be able to offer a high ticket offering, regardless of where you are in your journey. This isn't right for everyone. Not everyone is going to have this option of a revenue model. One of the best ways you can ask yourself whether or not you are ready for that, whether or not you have a level of expertise or experience that other people don't have, is pay attention to whether or not people are asking. It's a free, couldn't be me. Okay, good. Ask yourself, pay attention to whether or not people are asking you if you can do things for them. Are they asking you to do things for them? Okay. When people start asking you to do that thing for me, can you make that for me? Could you do that for me? Wow, could you just do it? Could you just do it? Yes, I could. And this is going to be where I'm going to be able to command the highest price, because I am doing something for you that you're not able to do for yourself. And I'm taking that off your hands. With me, it's helping you to figure out what you need to do next in your business. But whatever it is that you offer to the world, if people are asking you if you could just do it for them, they are telling you that there's a service out there or a product out there that they would be in the market for if only you offered it. So pay attention to those moments because they'll be very guiding about whether or not a high ticket offer might be a revenue model for you. And like I said, these are not all the different revenue models that exist out there, but for spiritual practitioners, these are like my top four. And these are the ones where when I do an audit of your spiritual business, when you have one-on-one sessions with me, when you become a part of one of my programs, I'm going to look to see if you have these revenue models in place, and we're going to see if you would be a good candidate for that, if you should utilize some of these revenue models in order to increase your reach and your revenue without having to get another certification, create a new program, offer a new service, or anything like that. Now let's talk about the third pillar. And this is the most boring one, but hang on to your britches, okay? Because by the end of me talking about this, you might feel differently about whether or not data and numbers are boring. All right. Most of us do not begin our spiritual businesses because we have a strong knack for numbers. Most of us are the opposite. Okay. Most of us are the kids that did well in English class and things like that. We didn't necessarily always thrive in the more technical places and spaces. Okay. And I get that. But the reason why I want you to at least give looking over your numbers a chance, okay, just consider it, is because I genuinely not believe, I know that this information is going to make building your spiritual business as easy as it possibly can. I promise you that if you're overwhelmed, you're confused, you're struggling, you're trying everything and nothing ever really like knocks it out of the park, I can promise you the reason for that is because you're not looking at your data. Because if you were, you would not have to guess. There would be no need for guessing. Your data tells you everything you need to know. It tells you what your clients and customers want to see from you. It tells you what your prices should be. It tells you when you should launch things. It tells you what colors you should use. It tells you what to call your services, what to call your businesses. Data will take all of the guesswork out of everything. Imagine how wonderful it will be to have a spiritual business where all you have to do is show up and do your readings, do your sessions, make your jewelry, make your candles. You never have to guess what scent should I sell next? What holiday should I do a sale for? You never have to ask yourself those questions. You look at the numbers, they tell you what to do, and you just go and do it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It changes the game to realize that you have a cheat code to answering all the questions about what you should be doing next in your business or what's working and what's not working. It's literally right at your fingertips, but you're just probably not tracking these numbers, or you don't know where to go to find them. You don't have anyone to teach you or show you. That's where I can really help you with looking at the technical aspects of these things or setting up the systems you need to put in place in order to begin tracking these numbers. This is one of the things I really love doing with my Better Witches, just because of how much easier it makes each of their lives once they start paying attention to these things. Now, we can't get into a super in-depth breakdown of all of these numbers and what they tell you. I just went live for our weekly refuel last week, our last Friday refuel, and really got into the nitty gritty about these numbers, how you track them, where you find them, and what they tell you, which is super important. If you are a Bunker member, all of the refuels are in the replay feed, so you can binge watch all of them. So if you want to go back, you can go and watch right now. last week's refuel. If you are not a bunker member, then consider joining us. You can join for free for the first 7 days. Okay. And those wonderful, wonderful resources in there, wonderful, wonderful community. And you could go and binge the refuels as well, while you decide if you want to stick around past the first 7 days. But to cover the most important aspects of the numbers that you want to track, first of all, you want to track your in and your out numbers. This is very straightforward. In, what am I making? Tarot readings, Reiki sessions, herb bundles I'm selling. What am I making? And your expenses. What did it cost me to make those things? Did I have to buy herbs? Am I paying every month for my website platform or my booking site? What is it costing you? Those two numbers are very helpful. Obviously, you would like to get to the point where you're making more than you're spending. That's the goal, right? But beyond that, tracking your in and out numbers also helps you to establish a budget for yourself. And one of the first things that I do with my Better Witches when we do your business audit is I get you set up with a spreadsheet that I've created. I call the CEO dashboard. And that spreadsheet is actually formulated so that when you plug in your in and out numbers, it will automatically calculate your budget for you. You're welcome. It will automatically tell you whether or not you are within your budget. So if you're going over budget, you can see that and make sure to adjust your spending. So if you have ever struggled with trying to figure out how much money can I actually afford to spend on this business, that spreadsheet answers that question for you. If you don't have access to that spreadsheet because you're not one of my clients, then what I recommend to people is to take your in and out numbers and try to make sure that you are not spending more than 40% of what is coming in. Now, every business is unique. Every business is different. If you're selling products versus offering services, then that's going to fluctuate. What is a healthy budget for you is very unique. So that's the benefit of working with me one-on-one, is because your budget amount will actually be calibrated to your particular business and what is safe for you to spend on your business, given all of your other expenses and the other responsibilities you have in your life. Okay, so I can't give each of you a specific budget amount, but generally speaking, if you're trying to figure this out on your own, look for trying to be within 25 to 40% of what is coming in, you are spending, and no more than that. The next number that you want to track is your website traffic. So for some of you, this is like an actual website. You have a domain and a website. For some of you, maybe that's just your booking site, or maybe it's the link in your bio. Maybe it's your link tree. Maybe your link tree is your website for now, and that's totally fine. Whatever you are using to send people to in order to find you, find your services, work with you, etc., you want to be tracking the traffic around that link. And you want to be tracking this in two ways. First of all, you want to be tracking, usually through Google Analytics, just how many people are coming there. How many people in a day clicked on my link? How many people in a day went to my website? And do I know that if I look at the trajectory of those numbers, I can make much smarter decisions? If I see that I get really high spikes of website traffic every time I teach a webinar, I should probably do that more. Right? So people coming to your site and paying attention to what makes that number goes up and down is important. And you would track that through Google Analytics. The other part of website traffic or booking site traffic that's important is what's called UTM parameters. And let me tell you something right here. This right here is one of the reasons why working with a coach is so freaking clutch. I have to tell you, okay? Because when you work with a coach, you get automatic access to everything that is up in their noggin without having to do the work or spend the money to get what's in their noggin. For me to learn about UTM parameters, how to create them, how to use them, and then how to analyze the data that comes from them, I had to take a 4-month-long digital marketing accelerator program. where I was taught by digital experts how to create UTM parameters for my links, how to set them up, where to use them, and then how to analyze the data so that I could get the information that they told me. You don't have to do that when you work with me. You will not have to take the 4-month accelerator. Instead, I'm just going to give you that information. Okay, I'm going to give you my spreadsheet that will help you turn all of the links on your website, all of the links into your booking page, into UTM links, which are special kinds of links that tell you not just how many people clicked on a certain link, but where they came from. So some of you said you have a website, right? You have a website. If you have a website hooked up to your Google Analytics, or even if the website probably has its own analytic tracking, whatever, wherever your website analytics are being tracked, you are probably able to see how many people came to your website today, right? What you don't know is how they found that website. Did they get it from your Instagram link in bio? Did they get it from your YouTube description? Did they get it from Google? Did they get it from your business card? Did they get it from a flyer you put up in your neighborhood? Where did that person actually find your website? You have no idea. You have no idea. Which means when you decide where you double down your energy, where you put more energy into, you don't know. You don't know whether or not you should be getting a Google ad or an Instagram ad. You don't know if you should be putting up more flyers in your neighborhood because it's really driving traffic to your website. You don't know, which means you just keep guessing, wasting your time. But if you had 3 months of data and you saw that 75% of the time that people went to your website, it was because they found you on Instagram, that tells you right there, okay, Instagram is where I should be focusing my energy. That means if I don't have the money, the time, or the energy to bother with a Google ad or to bother with another flyer or to make another YouTube video, that's okay because that's not where most of my traffic is coming from. Just take a moment to think about how freaking freeing it is to have that kind of information. Because I know some of you in this room right now really just feel like you're guessing, because you are. So your website traffic helps immensely. Okay. UTM parameters are like, oh my God, the absolute ultimate. You basically just get to spy on everybody that's coming to your corner of the internet. You get to see where they're coming from, and that tells you where you should be making sure to put yourself. Hugely, hugely, hugely helpful. And like I said, I help all of my better witches get UTM parameters on their links and teach them how to use them and how to track that data. So it's very helpful to have somebody walk you through that. Okay. And then we have your engagement, your social media engagement. And obviously, this is important, but it's probably not important for the reasons that you think. And like I said in last week's refuel, I really broke down. I talked for like 25 minutes all about what it is your social media engagement genuinely tells you about people. Because for those of you who have people following you, but don't have the same amount of sales as follows, then you probably have already realized that your follows don't tell you a lot of information. Your likes also don't tell you a lot of information. Okay. It's a little bit of information. Okay. People are watching, or all right, that was funny, or they thought that was cool, or they liked it for some reason. Okay, that's fine. But that doesn't tell you anything about how to turn that person who followed you or liked your post into an actual member of your community, somebody who values you, who wants to work from you, work with you, wants to get products from you, etc. The numbers in your social media that you should be paying attention to instead are your shares, your comments, and your follows from. Your shares, that little triangle on Instagram and on other platforms, it's different. On Threads, it's like a repost thing or what have you. But how many times do people share you, repost you, or remix your posts with their own, responses or reactions? Your shares tell you that you just struck a chord with somebody. You basically said what they want to say, but didn't know how to say it. So it was easier for them to just reshare what you said. That tells you that that's the type of knowledge, information, etc., that your followers wish they had. They want to be that. They want to sound like that. They want to represent that. So when you're trying to figure out what you can help people with, that is what you should help them with. Help them to become more like whatever it was you posted that they shared. What your comments tell you is what people want to talk about. How many times do you actually comment online? Not that many, right? You do a lot of scrolling. When you actually stop and comment, it's because something happened that really triggered a conversation that you want to be a part of. So your comments tell you what to talk about, what to build your community around, what topics fire up the people who are following you, and therefore what topics should you keep going in your space. And your follows from, which is different from your following. What your follows from tells you, that's the amount of people that followed you from a reel. When you have a reel or a post or something that you put online that got you a larger amount of followers than usual, then that is your marketing strategy. That's your marketing tool. Whatever that post was about got people who didn't know anything about you to say, you know what? I want to stay in touch with this person. I want to see more of this, or I want to not forget this person's page. Let me follow. So if you're wondering how to get more followers, if you're wondering how to get more of a name for yourself outside of the people who already know you, then look at the posts that generated you higher amounts of new followers and repeat those strategies, repeat those styles, repeat those subjects. So your data tells you so much. How much money you can afford to spend, where people are finding out from you from, and even what types of content and products and things to make for them. Never guess again. In my life, learning this was hugely transformational. And it was my business coach that taught me this. And the most important thing that she taught me about looking at my numbers was not just to look at the numbers themselves, but to look for potential for growth. And that's why I say things like your followers don't tell you as much as your follow from number. The amount of followers you have, that's nice. That's a number. It's cool. It's great if it goes up. But your follow from number tells you what things are actually causing growth in your space. And that is where you want to put your time and energy and attention. Some of you may have been selling candles for the last 3 years. And no matter what you do, no matter how many sales you run, no matter how many different styles you bring out, you pretty much sell the same amount of candles every single month. But every time you host a candle making event, you have a huge spike in sales. You get a bunch of people to sign up, and you also sell a few candles as well. While your candle sales might be higher than the amount that you make on any individual event, the room for growth and the potential for growth is higher with your candle classes than it is with your candle sales. You might not realize that if you're not tracking the numbers. And you not realizing that means you're going to continue to put your energy, money, and time into making more candles when you really should be putting your energy, money, and time into hosting more candle classes. Does that make sense? Do you all see how having access to your numbers, knowing what to look for and what they tell you, takes the guesswork out of what's happening in your business? And most importantly, do you see why it is important that you look for the numbers that are growing and double down on those rather than just the numbers that are high. I want to make sure you all understand that because that's a very technical thing. For those of you who are my growth witches in the building, those of you that have already launched your businesses, this is going to be huge for you because you're probably not already tracking these numbers. And by starting to do that, it is going to answer all of your questions, all of those head scratch moments about like, well, why in the world didn't that sell? Or why did people like that and not that? Or like, how come this isn't really moving when it's so helpful and it helps people so much and I have so many good reviews on it, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, this makes so much sense. I told you this was going to be the thing. I told you the data, the numbers, whenever I get to it, people are like, oh my God. And I will literally see the numbers in the webinar like drop off. And I'm like, no, don't go. I promise. I promise. It seems boring and it may not be super fun. But once you get the hang of it, it literally takes the guesswork out of your business. And now you can just keep doing what works and stop doing what's not working or adjust. Right? Super, 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 super helpful. Obviously, everyone's businesses are individual. So, what is actually growing in your business? What isn't? How to set up things like UTM tracking and Google Analytics and all that stuff for each of you is going to be different. So, just one of the many reasons to consider. If you don't become one of my ongoing clients, at least consider a simple one-to-one. Let's sit down with each other for an hour. Let's look at your numbers. Let's get some things in place so you can start tracking your numbers if you aren't already. And this will help you immensely, okay? You was about to get a Spirit said, sit down. This is huge. Yes, I'm glad they did. Thank you, Spirit. So much more sustainable than only adjusting to trends. Exactly. Yes, exactly. That's the other thing that can get you really caught up is trying to offer the things that other people have offered, right? So like one thing I see is like everybody's doing like donation-based live readings or $5, $10 cash apps, or their private sessions are all $30. Everybody's $30. Everybody's $30. And I'm like, why is that? Because everybody's copying off of each other and doing what everybody else is doing. But your numbers are going to tell you whether or not that's what your people actually want from you. Yes. Real data, way better than guessing. Okay. And the fourth and final pillar, and I want to let you know right now, I know we've covered a lot of material. Thank you all for hanging in here. Congratulations to all of you for sticking through this. Okay. Stick around to the end. I'm going to take your individual questions if you have any, but even more than that, I have some really special offers for all of you. A super huge thank you for taking the time to rock with me this afternoon. So definitely stick around for just a little bit longer, okay? This is the fourth pillar, but we've got some juicy stuff coming up afterwards. So don't tap out just yet. Now, the fourth pillar to a successful pivot is the messaging. The messaging, the messaging, the messaging. Even if you've been in business for 15 years and you need to now suddenly change your name, revamp your model, change your style, etc., that does not have to mean starting over from scratch. You can bring your people with you. Even if you change everything about your business, from the name to what you offer, to the platforms you're on, to what you call yourself, to your aesthetic, all of it, even if you change all of it, you can still get people to come with you. I know this because I've changed platforms and models and focus many times in these last 5 years as I have grown, both as a practitioner, as an entrepreneur, and my people have come with me every single time. And it's allowed me to learn how to make that happen. And your messaging has such a huge part of that. So one thing I see people do when they make changes that is, I would say, a no-no, is they have a tendency to focus on the thing that's going away instead of the thing that is coming in. So, for example, if you are realizing that you are needing to raise your prices, folks will focus on my prices are going up, which is a negative thing. Instead, maybe we want to focus our message on the value that is increasing to people, or the fact that by raising your prices, you are now going to be able to take on more clients. So if by raising your prices, you can now afford to, let's say, work 4 days at your 9 to 5 instead of 5 days at your 9 to 5, and you now can dedicate another day to doing tarot readings, that's what we focus on. Thanks to this pivot, thanks to this shift, thanks to this level up that I am doing in my business, I am now available for tarot readings on Saturdays and Sundays. As opposed to, hey guys, I'm so sorry, but at the end of the month, my prices are going up. Make sure you book an appointment before they do. You see the difference? The result is the same. The price is going up. But the message can either focus on what somebody is losing, or it can focus on what people are gaining. And once again, it brings us back to the mindset, back to the mindset shifts. Okay. If you are excited, motivated, passionate, driven, determined because of your pivot, if you know that your pivot is going to allow you to help more people and that gets you excited, if making this shift is going to make it better for you to move forward, make your business more sustainable, if you are vibrating from a frequency of this is a great thing, you are going to benefit from it just as much as I do, then that is the message that you're able to give to people and they will pick that up. If you are looking at your pivot as, oh man, I failed, I messed up, I didn't know what I was doing, or I tried something that didn't work out and now I'm going to get rid of that. If that is how you feel about yourself and your shift, that's how others are going to feel about your shift. So your message has to be positive for everyone else to see the change as a good thing. Because not everybody is comfortable with change, even when the change is towards something great. So especially for folks who are a little bit about change, you being positive about that is going to make that something that they can embrace and be excited about. So control the narrative, control the messaging around your pivot, and help people to understand why the changes that you are making benefit them and why they allow you to bring more value to them. I see someone in the YouTube chat has a question. That's awesome. We're getting to the Q&A soon. I think you just got in the building, so you might want to scroll back and watch some more of the presentation because we probably answered your question. We've been here for a little while, but for those of you who have been here, my growth witches, my aspiring witches, you can start getting your questions ready. Okay, we're going to move into the Q&A in just a second. And while we are getting our questions down in the chat, I want to go ahead and introduce you all to the special offers, the thank yous that I have for each of you, and the opportunity that each of you has to execute this type of pivot for yourself. Now, the 4 steps that I have just provided for you, like I said before, proven. Okay. We talked about that extensively in the beginning, all of the different pivots that I have made in business since 2017. And we talked about all of the witches that I have helped with their own pivots and the different ways in which I have helped them, the different spreadsheets, the different tools, the resources, the knowledge, the expertise that I have. So I don't really have to recap all of that for you. And if you want to hear what other witches other witchpreneurs say about working with me. On the homepage of this webinar is a video. Also on my YouTube channel are 2 or 3 videos. You can just type in review and you're going to see my review videos. And you're going to see from and hear from the better witches that have worked with me that I have put on camera. It's not all the witches I've ever worked with, but for the ones that I have video footage of. And you can listen to them talk about what it's been like to turn their businesses around by working with me, and what it's like to have a spiritual business coach, someone that understands you both from the perspective of desiring to create something and the perspective of wanting to remain a spiritually authentic and ethical individual. How can I bring together these two worlds? The really only way I think to do that without like driving yourself crazy is to partner up with somebody who has done that, so that they can walk you through it and show you. And that's my purpose and my passion right now in this lifetime, is to help other spiritual practitioners bring together their spiritual gifts and their desire to have a positive impact on the world with figuring out the technical aspects of how to actually do that without going broke and without having to choose between feeding themselves, clothing themselves, and healing people. Right. So that's something I've gotten really good at, and I've gotten really good at helping other people with. And I want to make it possible for each of you to work with me one-on-one. Now, refresh my memory. Some of you in the chat said that you were growth witches. Some of you said that you were aspiring witches. And I definitely want to talk to my growth witches. The reason why I want to talk to my growth witches, and I want to give you a special offer first, and something really, really significant, is because I know that many of you might be right at that moment where you are considering giving up, because you've already been working. Okay, my aspiring witches, you guys might still be in the idea phase. You might not have gotten started just yet. My growth witches, you've already gotten started, which means you've already spent money. You've already spent time. You've already spent energy and resources trying to make your business grow. And you might feel like you're out of options. You don't know what to do next. And you're getting really close to saying, I'm just not even going to do this anymore. And I want to make sure that doesn't happen, because the world absolutely needs you. We need your gifts. Every single community, every neighborhood, every block, every family needs their healers, needs their diviners. And we can't have us all tapping out because it's too difficult when it doesn't, especially when it doesn't have to be. Okay, so for my growth witches, those of you who have been around for a while, you know that I have a 6-month to 6-figure program. This is an opportunity to work with me one-on-one for 6 months. And this is what is necessary for my growth witches, because this gives us the time to look at your business from start to finish and immediately start implementing new revenue streams, new perspectives for your community, getting rid of the things that are not working, making your life much easier, getting your schedule under control, organizing you and structuring you, and also giving us the time to analyze the things that we are changing so we know what is working and we keep doing that, or we quickly identify what doesn't and we stop immediately. So I have found, after working with my Better Witches now for the last couple of years, that 6 months is a really good amount of time to take you to that next level and get rid of the overwhelm, the stress, the confusion, the mistakes and mishaps that might be holding you back right now. All right. The 6 months to 6 figures program is absolutely everything that I offer, all bundled into one. First of all, you are able to meet with me for an hour every single week. And every single week, you get to schedule that yourself. So you're not locked into a particular day. So if you have a schedule that shifts every week, maybe your work schedule changes every week, or maybe you've got the kids and their schedule changes every week, you're able to pick a day every week that's going to work for you. So you have a completely flexible schedule while still being able to meet with me one-on-one every week. You get access to all of my spreadsheets, all of my guides, all of my calculators, all of my tables. So everything that I talked to you about today that I have created to make it really easy for my Better Witches to just plug in their numbers, plug in their information, and track what they need to track, you get automatic access to all of those in each of the modules of our program. All of my classes, there's like 30 something classes in my class portal at this moment. You get access to all of the relevant classes completely for free. So you don't have to purchase those classes. So if there's some education you need that we can't cover in our one-to-ones, you can take one of my classes and it's just automatically included in your program class player. Okay. I know that a lot of my Better Witches have 9 to 5s, have kids, etc. And so even if you understand the importance of having a mailing list, or you understand how important it is to be tracking your UTM links on your emails, you might not actually have the physical time to do it. You might know that it's important for you to start a podcast, but you might not have the physical time to structure it or edit it or brand it. I have an entire suite of business services that I offer to my Better Witches because I know what it's like to be told that you should be doing something, but not physically have the time to do it. So I am able to take a lot of those things off of your hands by offering you discounted rates on the business services that I offer, that I and my team can offer you. And those are rates that are not available to anybody except for Better Witches enrolled in this program. Okay. Over the last 5 years, I've also developed a lot of really incredible professional relationships and become partners with a lot of really great platforms. So, whether you need a platform to help you get your LLC formalized, your EIN, and your bank account open, whether you need a social media scheduler that can post to all of your social media platforms automatically, or an automator that will respond to all of your comments. There are so many platforms and professionals that I have gotten really close with, that I use, that I'm able to extend discounts for, or refer you to. And that is so, so freaking helpful. I can tell you, starting my business, like, you don't know a lawyer, you don't know an accountant, you don't know a web designer, you don't know a, social media manager, you don't know a bookkeeper, you don't know a life insurance carrier, you don't know, like, you just don't necessarily know. You don't have like a Rolodex of 25 professionals that you can call on who will care about you, care about your business, and give you a really great rate and work with you because, they know somebody or something like that, right? Most of us are not born into that level of privilege. So having somebody in your life who does have those types of connections, who can put you into a network, is incredibly, incredibly helpful. It's worth its weight in gold. The bunker is a place where you can meet a whole bunch of other spiritual practitioners and professionals. And then working with me one-on-one, you're able to meet and work with potentially the people that I know and that I work with. And that is hugely helpful. And when you're enrolled in this program, you also get your bunker membership for free for the first 6 months. So getting to know the other spiritual practitioners that are in the bunker, the other professionals, etc., all of that, you get access to as a part of this program. So my growth witches, I really want you to understand that you do not have to be doing this alone. Ooh, it's 5:55. Hello. You do not have to be doing this all alone. Okay. You do not have to be figuring this out all by yourself. And you do not have to continue to spend time, money, and energy trying things and trying things and trying things and having them not work out. Every time you try something and have it not replenish you, you walk away with less and less. And your cup only has but so much in it. It only has so much in it. If you don't start making sure that you are being poured back into by your community, your clients, your customers, if you don't make sure you figure out how to get your message and what you offer to the world in front of the people who value it, you are going to eventually empty that cup, and you're not going to have a choice but to burn out and give up. Now, I have started offering something very special, and you all are the first people to find out about this. My 6 month to six figures program was originally offered for a one time investment that reflected the value of being able to have access to me and all of these resources for 6 months. And Spirit put on my heart the other day that I needed to reevaluate that and make it more accessible to folks. So the investment is the same, but what I've done is rather than a one time investment, where you secure all 6 months at once, I've decided to break this down into monthly installments. And so you are able to come on board immediately rather than the full value of $5,880. You're able to begin this program and be a part of this program for $980 a month. Okay. You have full access to everything in your class player, all of your sessions with me, and all of the materials while that is active. So that's the first thing I wanted to share with you all. I'm going to make this available to the general public after that. I'm going to tell them that, but you guys are the first to know that the 6 month to six figure program is now available as a monthly subscription as opposed to a one time investment. And that's really huge. So that's going to make it easier for so many of you to get started on your perfect pivot, turning things around in your business without having to guess how to do it. But something extra special for those of you who are here today, an offer that I am not going to be sharing with the general public, is that today and for the next 24 hours, while I have this replay available, you are going to be able to become a part of the 6 month to six figure program for just $490 for your first month. Okay, so your first month is half off. Half off. All right. I really wanted to do this right now. I don't know if I'm going to give this offer the next time I teach this webinar because this felt like something I really needed to do for where we are in the year right now. We've just passed the first quarter of the year, the first 3 months of the year, and that is enough time for you to tell whether or not the resolutions you made for 2025, your new offerings, your new whatever you rolled out at the beginning of the year, your new mindset, etc. You should be able to tell by now whether or not that's working for you. You should be able to tell right now whether or not that is changing the trajectory of your spiritual business. Because if it's not, you still have time to turn things around. And I really want to help you with that. I really want to help you with that. As we get later in the year, people start thinking about how much they've spent all year. They start getting ready for holidays, et cetera, and things start to get a little bit tricky. You're at a really great time now where people can get really excited about what you have to offer if you know how to bring that to the world. I want to help you do that. I want to help turn around what's not working in your spiritual business and get you on track so the next 3 quarters are as abundant and as prosperous for you and for your audience as possible. So, to make that easier for everyone, I am offering this just for the next 24 hours, just for those of you who are here in this webinar today or watching the replay. If you scan the QR code on your presentation screen, or if you're watching this on your phone, inside of the class player for this webinar, right after the webinar, the very next lesson is your special offer, the link to go and enroll into the program for this $490 for the first month is there. It is going to be gone in the next 24 hours. It will not be available, neither will the replay for this webinar. So I really want you to take advantage of this while this is happening, because the same thing always happens every single time. Every single time. Every single time I teach a webinar, I always come with special offers because my love language is gifts. So I like to give gifts. So I always come with a special offer. There is always somebody who attends the webinar, sees the special offer and doesn't act, and then comes back a month later and is like, oh, I should have taken advantage of that because now I want to enroll. Don't let that be you. Please take advantage of this now, okay? Please take advantage of it now. There's always somebody. I know I'm talking to somebody in here. We're going to be talking about this a month from now when you book a consultation and you say, I should have signed up then. So you can scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you to this special offer. You can only get to this price if you scan the QR code or you use the link in your class player. You cannot get to it from the website generally, etc. So now is the time to make sure that you take advantage of this and you do that. So I want to make sure that I answer any questions that have come up. I know some folks said in the chat that they had questions. And so now is the time to pick my brain about your business. What is going on in your business right now? What seems to be working, not working? What is it going to take in order for you to be able to operate your spiritual practice full time, if that's what you desire? And let's see if we can figure out how to get you there. What needs to be pivoted? What needs to be turned around? Drop your questions down below. And while you're doing that, I'm going to leave this slide up on the screen with the QR code so that if anybody is trying to get to that, you have it there for you. If you have a question, just drop an emoji down below and I'll bring you up. Drop an emoji. So you don't have to type out your whole question. You can just drop your emoji and I'll just let you ask your question. I can't believe it's so light out. It's so wonderful. Every time I do a webinar, it's late at night. I decided to do this one in the afternoon, and I might have to do it this way from now on because it is so nice that the sun is still out. What live streaming service do you recommend? I am a big fan of the service that I'm on right now, which is called StreamYard. Okay, I am a fan of StreamYard. My coaching clients actually get access to my referral link as a part of all of my different discounts, links, etc. But I'm going to hook you guys up and I'm going to share it with you in the chat. Okay, I just dropped it in the chat for you. You get a $10 discount on your paid account if you use that link. Okay, so that's my referral link. Definitely check it out. I like StreamYard because it allows me to stream to multiple destinations, but also to edit the videos pretty easily right after to repurpose them. And I have a lot of different options in terms of the style of stream. This is a webinar style stream right now, but I could also just record myself or just go live. I've been using it for a few years. It's not the cheapest of all streaming services out there, so definitely take advantage of the discount and use that referral link. Okay, great question. Let's see what else. What else? Which membership subscription service do you recommend? Patreon, Teachable, Thinkific? Is there one that does all if you are a coach, like group coaching and solo coaching? Another great question. This one's a little bit difficult for me to answer in this circumstance because I recommend any of these platforms. It really depends on your business model and what type of experience you're trying to create for your clients and customers. What types of results are you trying to deliver to them, and what type of experience do you want them to have? Because that is going to have the biggest impact on which platform I think would be best for you, or that ultimately would be best for you. You guys already know that my classes and my coaching programs are all offered through Thinkific. That's where each of you have registered. If you are watching on YouTube and you haven't registered, when you do, you are going to be in Thinkific world because of the different features that I have and the experience I want my students to have. It gives me, but that would not necessarily be my recommendation if you had something else in mind. Okay. So these are really great questions for a one-to-one session, Samantha. I definitely encourage you to consider booking that. If you are a Bunker member, all Bunker members get a free confirmation call. That's a 15-minute session with me, which are great for shorter questions or to get shown around the platform. But it sounds like you would benefit perhaps from a one-to-one session. Okay. But if you want more than just a list of recommendations, because that's nice, right? Like, that's helpful for someone to be like, well, check this out, or hey, look into that. That's nice. But that's probably not your biggest struggle because I'm sure that you are capable of asking the question of what experience you want your people to have and then looking through the features of each of these sites to pick the one that works for you. What you probably really need is for somebody to help you to identify what your target audience is, what results they are looking for from you, and where to place yourself so that they not only find you, but they also see value in what you offer, right? Because you can set up a Patreon. It might have all of the features that you need for the experience you want your subscribers and members to have. But how do we get people to sign up for the Patreon? How do we communicate to the world what they're going to experience once they're inside? How do we communicate to the world what the value of being a member of that Patreon is going to bring to them? That is really where I think you're going to see the biggest growth for your spiritual practice because you're asking questions like, what platform should I use as a coach for group coaching or solo coaching? And at the end of the day, what's most important is that people who are looking for coaching understand the value that you bring and why the experience with you is going to be different or better than someone else's. The platform that you use to deliver that will then confirm that. It will reinforce that. It will support that, but it's not the platform that gets that done. And that's the part where being a part of the 6 month to six figure program is really going to help you because that's what we work on together. Yes, we'll look at the different platforms that are available to you. Yes, I'll make my recommendations for the ones that I think are going to have the features that you are looking for. But what we really are going to do in this program together is we're going to identify who your ideal clients are, where they are looking for somebody like you, how to get yourself in front of those people. And once you're in front of them, how to deliver the message that they need to hear to make them actually go from just watching to engaging with the space that you have created. Make sense? Okay. And that's for all of you. And I think I'm really glad that you asked that question, Samantha. And I'm hoping that all of you really understand the difference between that, right? The difference between watching YouTube videos or even attending webinars and actually working one on one with someone who can really hold your hand and guide you through the more in depth aspects of how to build a community that values you. So if you're wondering to yourself, like, what exactly is the benefit of having a coach? Why do I need a coach? Can I just Google this information? Can I just YouTube it? Can I just hop into the next live of my favorite witchpreneur and just ask them what platforms they use? Can I go to their website and just see what website builder they use and just copy that? Can I see what mailing platform they use to send out their emails and just do that? Sure, absolutely. You can use the same platforms as somebody else. You can offer the same services as somebody else. You can absolutely take cues from what other people are doing, but it's not the platform, it's not the service that makes people decide to give their hard earned money to you to be a part of what you are building or what you are offering. It's your ability to communicate value, your value, the value of your services, and the value to your clients and customers. And that is so unique and individual for each of you because it's directly tied to your unique spiritual gifts that there's really no way to generalize it. And this is why one-to-one coaching is so helpful for entrepreneurs. There are 1,000 companies that make lip gloss, right? Some are doing great, some are not. And the ones that are doing great not because they're the only people that have lip gloss. They're not. But because they have communicated their special something, their special sauce. They've been clear in their message and who it is they are serving. And people respond. Okay? So this is the benefit of one-to-one coaching. It goes way beyond just having a list of recommendations or a bunch of videos that give you general information that you then still have to go and figure out how to apply. The figuring it out part is what goes away when you work with a coach. Okay. The figuring it out part does not go away when you take classes or you get recommendations or you tune into someone's lives, etc. The information and knowledge that I just shared with you today is incredibly helpful. You guys have already told me that. You have already gotten so many ideas, so many insights on how you can do things differently with your spiritual business. But that still doesn't go to the length of actually showing you how to implement those things. Because like I said, each of you has unique spiritual gifts that I can't tailor a webinar to each of you for. So I have to give you this information, and then each of you still has to take that information and figure out how to implement it in your business. And if you're tired of figuring it out, if you're tired of having to be the one to figure out the information that you got, it's time to get a coach. Okay? It's time to get a coach. Any other questions? Drop them down in the chat while we wait for any other questions to come in. I want to remind you all that this special offer is only for the next 24 hours. Your first month of one-to-one mentorship and coaching with me and access to everything in the 6 month to 6-figure program is going to be available just for 50% off for the next 24 hours. This is the best way to get one-to-one coaching from me. Okay, you could set up an individual session, but you are going to have the most bang for your buck and the most savings, the highest return on investment by taking advantage of this offer. Now, will you be able to become a part of the 6 months to 6-figure program without this special offer? Yes, absolutely. It is on my website. It is in the class portal along with all of my other classes and programs. You're more than welcome to register at any time and you will immediately get started with me. You get your welcome email, you get your links to set up your first sessions, you immediately get access to certain downloads and spreadsheets that we will start right away to audit your business and get clear about your message moving forward so that we can turn you around within 6 months, have you generating revenue, have you seeing the reach that you'd like, and potentially being able to replace your 9-to-5 with your spiritual business. So we get started right away, and you're going to always be able to register to work with me in this capacity. But what you won't have access to is to be able to get started with me for just $490 and have an entire month of my time, access to the bunker, all of my materials, and one-to-one sessions with me. So Samantha is saying that it's definitely time for a coach. I remember from the beginning, Samantha, you were like, I'm a growth witch. So I've had my eye on you for this entire webinar. I agree with you just based on the level of questions that you've asked and the amount of progress that you've already made for yourself. I agree with you immensely. I think you're an excellent candidate for working with me in this program. I really want you to take advantage of this, okay? Because it seems like the decision essentially has already been made. So unless you think that, in a month from now, you're going to be able to implement all of this for yourself, I would say take advantage of the offer that is being extended here today, because that $490 savings is huge. As a spiritual entrepreneur, I can tell you, unless you're planning to quit tomorrow, you're going to spend this money. You're going to spend this money. And the question is, are you spending it or are you investing it? I want you to think about how many things you have already spent money on in your spiritual business and how many of those things have actually given you a return. If most of them have not, I want you to stop doing it that way. I want you to stop throwing money here and there, getting random things, trying random things, and having those not pay off. I want you instead to start thinking like a CEO. Start asking the question, does this give me a return on my investment? Does this give me a return on my investment? And being able to work with me one-on-one, be a part of this community, and take advantage of all of the 5 years of education, knowledge, resources that I've created, that this community has supported and put together, and to be able to also have a savings of $490 just going into the gate is huge. Huge, 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 huge. Huge, huge, huge. Okay. Now, for my aspiring witches that are in here, a number of you said that you were aspiring witches. And Samantha, I know you're not the only growth witch. I think Kimberly, you also said that you were a growth witch, my dear. Talk to me. Let me know what you are thinking about in terms of coaching. I think you and I have a confirmation call set up for this week already. So we're going to get a chance to talk about it then as well, because you're a bunker member. Bunker members get to have a free confirmation call with me. So if you're like, I want to talk to you directly about my circumstances, I don't know if the 6-month program and working one-on-one with a coach is right for me right now. I don't know if maybe something else is a better option. A confirmation call is a way to get started. Bunker members have access to that, and Kimberly took advantage of that this week. So Kimberly, I know we're going to be talking already, but if you want to share with your fellow witches your thoughts about coaching, what you're thinking about, definitely do so. It can help the next witch for sure. There were a few aspiring witches in here who said that they were thinking about their spiritual businesses. They have ideas. Maybe you are building out something, you're working on a website, or you're working on a social media page and you're thinking about launching. You haven't done it just yet. For you guys, I told you to stick around. I had something special for you as well. Obviously, if you are just starting your spiritual business, then the 6 months to 6-figure program is not really for you. Okay, it is not for you. This is for my witches that have already started to lay the foundation of their business, even if you haven't like gotten an LLC or anything like that, but you've already got it started. And now you need someone to go through and look over what you've already done, help you change directions or fix what is not working, and really move to the next level. For my aspiring witches, you're just getting started. You don't necessarily have anything to pivot and move to the next level. For you all, I want you to take a look inside the class player. Right after this video, there are 2 more special offers. There's the special offer for the 6 months to 6-figure program, but I also slipped in a little special offer for you guys, okay? For my aspiring witches, I have a program called my 6 Weeks to Launch program. 6 Weeks to Launch. My 6 Weeks to Launch program is for my spiritual practitioners that are just getting started. Maybe you're doing free readings on YouTube. Maybe you are doing donation-based Reiki sessions at your local wellness center. Maybe you are just doing readings for friends and family at parties and things like that. And you feel the call, you feel purpose driven, you feel like you want to make an impact in the world through spiritual services, but you haven't even gotten like an idea off the ground yet. I do have a program for you. It's the 6 weeks to launch program. We get right in it. And by the end of the 6 weeks, you will be launching your business. Okay. Whether it's LLC formation, bank account, marketing, picking your target audience, choosing your platforms, etc. We spend 6 weeks getting everything off the ground. So if it has been taking you longer than 6 weeks to turn that idea into a spiritual business, please stop doing that. Because it's probably costing you time and money every week that goes by. Please stop doing that. Take advantage of the 6 week to launch program. There's a special offer in the class player for you all. My 6 weeks to launch program offer includes a month free in the bunker, which is a very, very nice perk to working with me every week for 6 weeks, getting your business off the ground. So I have something for you all today too. But today's webinar is really, really for my growth witches. So I really wanted to make sure that I focus on them. But I didn't want to leave my aspiring witches out. Okay. So check the class player for a special offer for you guys. Andy said, woohoo! Yes, 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 yes. Even if you already are a bunker member, if you register for the 6 weeks to launch program, you will get a month of bunker membership for free. Okay. And I want to go back to something that Samantha just said. Anytime I've successfully done something with ease, I had a coach. You nailed it. You nailed it, honey. That really is the fundamental difference between figuring things out on your own and doing it with a coach. Just the ease. I believe every single one of you is capable of learning what I have learned about growing a business. Because I did it. I believe that every one of you could also take a 4-month-long digital marketing accelerator program to learn how to track your data. I believe that all of you could also watch hours and hours and hours of free webinars, classes, and YouTube videos to learn about tax preparation, to learn about business insurance, to learn about different platforms and automations. I know that each of you could attend conferences with entrepreneurs, politicians, spiritual gurus, movers and shakers. I know that you can do all of the things that I have done since 2017 in order to accumulate the amount of knowledge, the amount of connections, the amount of resources that I have gathered over that time. I just don't know why you would want to. I just don't know why you would want to. Why spend the next 8 years piecing it all together, figuring it all out on your own, wasting money here and there, wasting time trying things that ultimately won't help, when you could partner with someone who's already done it and let them streamline that process for you? And I think probably the most beautiful thing about me offering my 6-month program for a monthly subscription as opposed to one buy-in rate is it allows you to move through the program as far as works for you. Right? So if 2 months in, you feel like you're good, you've learned enough, you've had enough one-on-one assistance, you've had enough help with incorporating everything, you're good, and now you want to fly, bird, fly, you can do that. Okay? You can do that. So you have so much more flexibility. And like I said, being able to take advantage of half off of your first month is something that's only going to exist for the next 24 hours. I am going to leave this replay up for people who did not get to watch it, but have registered so that they can watch it and get all of this information, take notes, and take advantage of these special offers. But they are going to go away. in the next 24 hours. So I want you to take advantage of that, okay? You are so welcome, Angie. This was incredible and helped me figure out some next steps. You are so, so welcome. You are so welcome. Any more questions before we wrap things up? I definitely want to make sure that I answer anybody's questions about the 6-month to 6 figures program. And I want to make sure I answer any questions about what to do if you are not yet at the growth stage, if you are just launching your spiritual business. I am available to help you as well. This community and its resources are available to help you as well. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. And yes, I did not leave you out. Definitely make sure before you leave the platform to scroll through the lessons and see the special offer that I've created for you as well. Okay. Kimberly says, thank you. This was amazing. Thank you, Kimberly. I'm looking forward to seeing you in your confirmation call for sure. I'd love to learn more about how what you learned here today is going to help you with the next step in your business. If you have any questions, drop them down below or drop an emoji. I'll pull you up so you can ask your question, or you can drop it down below. Let me know. Let me know. If you are on a computer, you can use your phone to scan the QR code and it will take you directly to this exclusive price. You won't be able to access this price if you just find the program through my website. So you're definitely going to want to scan this, take a screenshot of it, save it. Go to the website, save it, bookmark the page, what have you. If you want to come back to it, make sure that you have it. If you are watching this webinar right now on your mobile device and you can't scan the QR code, that is okay. Right below this video are the other lessons in your class player, and the direct link to this exclusive price is there for you. Take advantage of it while it still exists, okay? Samantha says, thank you. Truly a gift in itself. Thank you so much for being here, Samantha. I'm looking forward to working with you moving forward. Zenobia said, thank you, Allie. Been a fan since you started readings on YouTube. Thank you, Zenobia. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you so, so, so much. All right, which is, so if you did not get an opportunity to ask me questions, if you are watching this on the replay, guess what? That's okay, because you have access to the discussion board. Take a look at the top right of your screen. You're going to see a bubble that says discussion board, and that is a spot where you can leave me any questions. So if you were not here for the live stream of this webinar, you're watching it on a replay, you can still get your questions asked by me. Just drop them into the discussion board, and make sure that you watch this replay and take advantage of the special offers that are available for the next 24 hours. I don't know when I'm going to offer this webinar again. I kind of let spirit guide me on these things. So I trust that you are here because you are supposed to be here. This message is for you. This offer is for you. And I definitely encourage you to take advantage of it. I want to thank all of you for being here with me today. If you need to get in touch with me, you can find me on social media, YouTube, Threads, Instagram, all at BronxWitch. You can also shoot me an email if you have any general questions. BronxWitchMembers@gmail.com is the way to get in touch with me by email. All right, which is, it was great having all of you here. I'm really looking forward to seeing how all of you turn your spiritual businesses around with the information that I shared with you. If you're looking for a community to join, definitely become a part of the bunker. You can continue these conversations, chat with me and the other witches 24 hours a day, get live weekly group coaching and access to events, retreats, and so much more. And there is a link to join the bunker down in this class player as well. So just make sure you scroll through all the lessons in the class player so you get all the special offers, all the info, all the links, all the good stuff. All right, witches, have a beautiful rest of the day. I will see my bunker witches in the bunker, and I'll chat with you all soon. Blessed be.